Dasha went to her favourite cafe, where she was a frequent visitor due to its convenient location. The girl decided to be alone with her thoughts. The fact was that her life circumstances lately had been, to put it mildly, not important. But why am I so unlucky? Things are not going well, and Sergei left. The girl looked sadly out the window of the cafe. Dashka, you're good, sweet, but you and I are two hungry men, and that's a fact. The guy's voice was hard and confident, apparently. He was carefully preparing for a breakup and explanation with his girlfriend. But isn't love worth overcoming difficulties and achieving success together? Daria was very slow to grasp the deeper meaning of what he said. I'm sorry, but I want to live a good life. I don't understand. What's stopping us from doing that? And Nina Nikolaevna has everything you need for a comfortable life. Sergei! Well, how so? This grimy woman, although she is the head of the department, but she is already a 40-year-old woman, and she has never given birth. And you foolishly fell for it. Stop it! She's a beautiful person. You're a pussy. Nobody wants her. Dasha couldn't realise that she had been swapped for an aunt, which made her voice break with indignation and turn to shouting. She is an enviable bride. Half of the men of the department are ready to be dragged after her. And you're 25, and she's 40. The girl wouldn't stop. She'll give birth to my baby, and we'll have a happy and strong family. A full cup. How can you think like that? Daria cried quietly. She had so much money left from her dead father. I'm sorry. You're a traitor, Dasha said quietly. The abandoned girl time after time replayed in her head that final conversation, but still could not understand the man whom she had long considered as an obvious candidate for the role of a spouse. Okay. Dasha tried to distract herself with other topics, so as not to finally fall apart and cry. But all thoughts were exceptionally gloomy. As soon as the girl brushed off the romantic disappointment, so other negatives immediately popped into her head. The fact that 2 days ago, in the shop where she worked as a saleswoman, there was a serious shortage, and someone from her shift took the goods with a shortage, and she, trusting everyone's word, became the extreme. You're a dope, Dashka, said the manager then, realizing that her subordinate could not have stolen. Maria Ivanovna, I had to check, so I'm responsible. I feel sorry for you. You can disappear with such a life stance. There are different people around. Different. Okay, I'll make it up to you somehow. Dasha tried to be optimistic, but she was already beginning to think that she would have to work off this joint for more than 1 month. Having overcome these gloomy thoughts with work, the girl remembered that the deadline for paying the rent for the flat where she lived was approaching, and according to her modest calculations, she was almost half the amount short. Well, where can I find the money? Borrow money from work colleagues or take out a loan from the bank? And then how to pay back? Okay, we'll get through this. The optimistic message could have played its positive role now, but Dasha's gaze stopped on the torn boot. She had bought this fashionable pair of boots last week at a sale for 10,000 rubles. Then she was very happy about it, despite the fact that she had given the money she had paid for it. Half an hour ago, she managed to catch a pin in the road. It was clear that the boots could not be repaired, and the money had been thrown away, as they say, down the drain. Thoughts, black as clouds, again enveloped the girl's consciousness. Dasha wrinkled her forehead, sullenly propped her head with her hand, and stared with empty eyes somewhere in the distance through the panes of the window. Suddenly, her attention was attracted by a gypsy woman sitting outside the cafe. Wow, this seems to be the 3rd time I've seen this woman in the last few days. She doesn't earn her bread the easiest way. Even in a difficult situation that affected the girl directly, she couldn't remain indifferent to other people's problems. After sitting in the cafe for another 20 minutes, Daria, sighing heavily, and shaking her head back vigorously, which meant for her the process of zeroing in, got up from the table and, leaving the money for her coffee under the empty cup, headed for the exit. On the street, she again saw a gypsy woman in a colourful skirt. She immediately started asking for money. "Her daughter is dying. She's just a little girl. Help!" Her voice was loud and squeaky. "Where's the daughter? It's a wrapped dollop," said Dasher, coming closer. "Do you have the money? If not, then get lost." "Shame on you. Closed an empty bag and deceive people." The girl sharply turned away from the gypsy and went home. At night, she tossed and turned in bed for a long time and could not sleep. Thoughts related to the gypsy swarmed in her head. When she arrived at work in the morning, she first decided to discuss the matter with her friend. "Dashka, you believe these gypsies?" Sveta raised her eyebrows in surprise. "They don't ask for money for supposedly sick children, but for their own needs. There's a doll, a simple doll. They're 100% crooks. But how can you manipulate the feelings of children like that?" The girl couldn't believe such a disgusting way to make money. "Yeah, you're a gullible girl, Dasha. It's easy to deceive you." "No, Sveta, we have to check it on the spot." Daria wouldn't stop. Walking home after work past the cafe, Dasha saw her old acquaintance again. The girl deliberately walked very close to examine carefully who was wrapped up there. A doll or a real child? She saw the baby's hand moving. The gypsy caught Daria's eye and quickly put the hand under the blanket. "If you want to get the money, then show the baby. What if you have a doll? 1,000 rubles." "I don't have that much. There's only 500. "Come on!" The gypsy woman grabbed the money and showed the child's face. The little girl with blue eyes and white fuzz on her head was about 6 months old. She was sleeping. Dasha was in shock. Obviously, the child could not be the daughter of a gypsy. At home, the girl firmly decided that she would not leave this situation without attention, and would help to find the parents of the lost baby girl. There was no strength to wait for the next day to come, so she started searching for the deceitful woman in the evening. But she could not do it. The gypsy woman was not in her usual place. Dasha decided to turn to the district police officer. Together with the policeman, she went round the possible places where gypsies lived in their neighbourhood, but to no avail. The thought suddenly arose in her head. Could they be in cahoots? After all, the policeman had gone straight to the toilet after talking to her. Perhaps he phoned whoever needed it. The next day, Svetlana, having heard this story, began to persuade her friend to leave the situation alone. "Don't be stupid, Dashka. Why do you need problems?" "I can't do that, Sveta." The girl was outraged. "The child is obviously not a gypsy's." "Look, you'll get yourself into more trouble. Isn't it enough what's already happened? You, Dasha, have more problems than the whole shop." "We'll get through this." Dasha was looking out of the window thoughtfully. "I'll find you, baby. I'll definitely find you." And 2 days later, Dasha saw this gypsy woman at the neighbouring metro station. The girl got out of the carriage early on purpose, so that she could survey the entire neighbouring area. It was clear that the swindler had changed her location, but she had not gone far from her former place. Seeing Dasha, she became a little wary. "What do you want?" the gypsy woman said to her rudely. "Here, take 1,000. Buy the child some food," Daria said, approaching the gypsy. "Thank you." The satisfied woman smiled and held out her hand for the note she had shown her. Dasha, catching herself, hit the gypsy woman sharply on the head with her heavy bag. Snatching the child out of the hands of the dazed thief, Daria quickly ran to the nearest courtyard. Of course, the chase might not end in the girl's favour because of the burden that had to be carefully guarded. However, Providence itself was on the side of justice. Running into the nearest entranceway, which was very fortunately opened by the occupants entering it, Dasha took refuge from the pursuit. After sitting in the entrance for about an hour and catching her breath from the fast running and excitement, Dasha returned home. She took 2 days off work, as she had some time off. During this time, she carefully looked after the baby and began to search for her parents. Having taken a photo of the baby, the girl posted a message about the missing 6-month-old girl on the internet notice board. Surprisingly quickly found her grandmother, who called on the phone. Dasha arrived with the child at the specified address. "Good afternoon." Daria looked carefully at the old woman who opened the front door. "Hello, sweetheart. Come in." Zoya Lvovna, the girl's grandmother, was very worried, which made her voice break into tears. Don't worry. The girl is healthy and unharmed. During the conversation, it turned out that the child's father and the old lady's son had recently been in a car accident and became disabled. His wife could not stand the ordeal and left the family. Son Andrew moves now only in a wheelchair, and the old nanny, walking with the baby in the park, distracted from her for a while. This was enough for the thieves to take advantage of the woman's negligence and steal the girl. And if it wasn't for you, Dashenka, we would have lost our baby forever, the old woman cried. It's good that now the girl has been found. Daria tried to turn the conversation into a positive direction. Of course, that's the main thing. The old woman fussed around the baby, who woke up and began to show activity. And where is Nastia's happy father? He's coming. He is now in the hospital and knows that you will bring your daughter. At the same time, with these words, the doorbell rang. Dasha saw Andrei. He was in a wheelchair. Daria, how can I thank you? Enthusiastically said joyful Andrei, hugging his little daughter. Oh, come on, don't be grateful. When I saw that girl, I thought I'd save her. I don't know what triggered it in me. A sixth sense or something. But I knew that this mission to save the girl was meant for me. Then I owe you a financial reward. Andrei took out a pack of banknotes from the desk drawer and handed them to Dasha. Here's 500,000. You'll need it. No, Andrei, no, thank you. Dasha looked at the man confusedly and was about to leave. Nah, Andrei, you scared the girl, said Zoya Lvovna. Dasha, thank you very much. Our house is always open for you, if you want to visit Nastia. You are like our own people now. We are always glad to see you. When Dasha got home, she thought about it. What a fool. 500,000. She would have covered the shortfall, bought boots, paid the rent. What a pride nobody needs. It's not a poor family. Zoya Lvovna said that Andrei was in business, and I was afraid to take the money. Suddenly there was a phone call. It was Andrei. Dasha, you forgot your scarf. Oh, I forgot, the girl said confusedly. Well, I'll bring it to you. Dictate the address. And from that very day, Andrei and Dasha began to communicate. They went to cafes, to the cinema, walked with Nastia in the park. Dasha was not embarrassed that Andrew is in a wheelchair. Especially, he said that there was a chance to get back on her feet. Between the couple arose feelings, and then a romance. Andrei started intensified training and accelerated the process of rehabilitating. He dreamed of getting back on his feet faster and carrying Dasha in his arms to the registry office. Andrei helped her to pay off her debts. The girl quit her job at the shop and devoted all her time to Andrei and his daughter. Andrei himself recovered very quickly. His attending doctor, with whom he was registered, was completely bewildered. In my practice, there has never been such a case that patients with such a severe trauma so rapidly recovered. In the eyes of the doctor was a real delight. Artem Vadimovich, you can't imagine what love can do. Andrei looked at the doctor with a wide smile on his face, and his eyes sparkled with characteristic rays of happiness. Yes, love does wonders. I believe it. And here is my guardian angel, Daria Alexeyevna herself. Andrei proudly introduced his future wife. "I'm very glad," said the doctor with a smile. "In 2 months we will have a wedding. We are invited." The young man was glowing with joy. "I would be honoured to be one of the invited guests." 2 months later, the wedding took place in a cafe rented for 2 days, and the place of celebration was chosen exactly that institution where not so long ago Daria sat with a droopy head and listed all their failures, which fell on her. Daria and Andrew became happy newlyweds, and the young and full of vigour man was able very quickly not only to get back on his feet, but also to fully restore his health. Artem Vadimovich was so inspired by this event that he promised to defend his thesis, the basis of which was this clinical case, and 9 months later, the couple again gathered in the same cafe when they celebrated the birth of their joint daughter. Now, in a fairly well-to-do family of a successful entrepreneur, Andrei and his beautiful wife Daria, 2 daughters are growing up, Alinochka and Nastenka.